and Mr. Roy and others, I don't want to speak for him, but I suspect will touch on this, certainly agree that a good place to start as we debate the codification within this potential proposed piece of legislation around various rights that a parent would have vis-a-vis their school district would be in our local communities to check to see, what's been promulgated and regulated at the local level, and then follow that and emulate that. So to the extent that it's working effectively and is broadly based. So in any event.
Just very briefly.
Sure, ranking member.
There's a provision in the bill that says that if you're exercising your right to speak, you should not be criminalized. And an amendment was accepted to point out, but if there's a credible threat of violence, then of course public safety officials should be called. Yeah. And that amendment was adopted.
So in any event, I would just again say I agree with the various rights that were in that we were sort of going back through with me and the chairwoman, and I appreciate the debate today. But I would hope that we also would bring some sense of our local communities to this discussion, and that's the reasoning for my exchange. With that, I yield back to the chair.
Gentleman from South Carolina is recognized for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank both of you for appearing today. I'm not going to belabor this. Ms. Fox, Dr. Fox, you were a school board member for 12 years. You taught school. You were president of a junior college, I think, in North Carolina. So this topic is not something that you don't know anything about. You experienced it in the classroom. You see it, you feel it, you know it. Is that right? This bill, I read over it. I said, this should be called the Transparency Bill of Rights. And when you look over, what is you're spelling out, parents should have the right to know what the children are being taught. I've got 17 grandchildren, 4 children, and it would shock you to see the books. And Mr. McGovern pulled one book, which happened to be a good book. I can pull you 20 books that are not appropriate, not only for the age, but not appropriate to educate that child for competition in the 21st century and for anything, the sex books that are out there. So this is just a transparency rights. This sets out a standard that they know that should have been followed anyway, but they're not. Now, a lot of this has been brought on by this administration, and particularly the Attorney General on October 4th, his memorandum to directors all across the Department of Justice, basically informing them that they've got the intent to undergo a series of measures designed to address the rise in criminal conduct directed toward school personnel. On October 20th, he got an overwhelming number of replies across judicial districts, and they're saying there's been no threat of violence. Now, this is an Attorney General who is not interested in the protection of Supreme Court justice. He's not interested in prosecuting those who are tearing our cities up, but he targeted school boards. That's where a lot of this is coming from now, particularly that you're spelling out. And I guess my question to you is, I don't know where we got to where we are, where 90% of students in recent surveys have been taught critical race theory. How is that going to enable somebody to compete in the 21st century, and how is that skill related? Is that part of our education system? They had public school district took middle schoolers to a drag show without telling their parents. This is a transparency bill. There's no, it should have been implemented anyway. I agree with Thomas, the thing's gotten so out of line. The Department of Education should be abolished anyway. It's an overreach of government. It's not in the Constitution. But I appreciate you putting this up. I think it makes sense, and it shouldn't be something that we've had to debate and spend, we've spent 3 hours now. But thanks for putting it up, and I have no further questions.
Thank you, and thank you for emphasizing again that this is a bill about transparency and accountability. As I said, 2 words we're going to hear a lot of during this session of Congress. Gentleman from Texas is recognized for questions.
I thank the chairman. I I thank the witnesses. I would like to note that there's been a significant amount of conversation about a book, quote, banned in Florida, in Duval County.